Well, g'day everyone and welcome back to another Simple Film Studios video. And do I have a banger for you today? We're talking the nifty 50 on the Canon R10. Now, if you're like me and before you go and buy a lens, you go and watch every single YouTube video on it possible so that you can get the best idea of how the lens is going to perform for you, then you've probably already bought the nifty 50. It is literally the highest selling lens of all time. Pretty much everybody has it. Now, it's been reviewed by guys like Peter McKinnon, and when they endorse something like this, it gets taken up by the masses because he had a really good review about the RF nifty 50, and if you haven't seen that, I'm going to link it below. There are some things that I think were mentioned in there that might not necessarily apply to us if we're using the Canon R10 or a crop sensor camera. Now, he does mention the crop on the crop sensor camera, but when they actually come into the field and you're actually using this lens, you have to remember that he's using a Canon 6D Mark II or something that is a full frame lens to get the best out of the nifty 50, so he's literally shooting at 50mm. Whereas with the Canon R10, once you add the crop factor in there, you're actually shooting more like 75 or even 78 millimeters, depending on the crop factor, if it's 1.5 or 1.56. So all of a sudden that 50mm lens now becomes pretty much a 75mm prime lens, and you have to take that into account and consideration when you're buying this lens. But enough of that, let's get into the photography side. We're going to talk photography, we're going to talk videography, we're going to go into B-roll, we're going to go into 4K 60, is it even usable, and a whole bunch of other stuff. A whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, I'm a little bit hungry. Are you hungry? Anyway, so photography, I'm going to throw up some shots on screen right now. This is a beast. I'm going to make absolutely no bones about it. If you're looking for photography in the 50mm lens, and it's portrait photography of things like animals, which I did, which is horses, even product photography, or also if you want to go and take some photography of your family, this thing is really good. But again, if you're wanting that full frame look from top to bottom so you can get everything in focus from a person's feet to the top of their head, this may struggle with the crop of a APS-C crop sensor camera. But it is still an exceptional lens to take portrait photography, and I would recommend it. I have it in the bag all the time, and I love using this lens for that purpose. Then as we get into videography, this I'm going to spend a little bit more time on because it's what I do predominantly the most. Again, I've seen people on YouTube use this lens for B-roll and video, and it looks absolutely sensational. When I tried it the first time, not so much. So I gave it a chance though. I took it down to the park, like I said, with my son, and this is what came out of 4K 30, which I thought was really reasonable, but I did have to have the camera set back quite a way to get that footage, and it didn't give a great field of view, being that it's really filming at 75mm. I then tried the 4K 60 so I could slow down the footage and keep the quality, but it was really just unusable. You can't necessarily use the 4K 60 with the crop for this style of B-roll or footage. So I did do the full HD 60, and that was really nice. So it was able to go back at the exact same spot. It had the same field of view as the 4K 30, except I was able to slow the footage down and make it look a lot smoother. The next part after that, I was a little bit disheartened with the lens with video. So I took it to the golf course, which is where I do a lot of my filming, and let me tell you, that blew me away. If you're a social media kind of person, you're looking for a camera and a lens to get you into that social media realm where everything is just super high quality, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or YouTube Shorts or whatever it is, this could be the lens for you and the camera setup. The reason why I say that is as I roll this, you're going to see that it gives me a great portrait image when I'm hitting these golf balls. It also gives me a great look, and I love the bokeh in the background with the f-stop 1.8. It is fantastic. Not only that, I put a couple of clips together where I used 4K 30 and I also used the full HD. I didn't even bother with 4K 60. That crop is just way too much. Like I said, it's unusable. But if you sprinkle some 4K 30 in with some full HD 60, then you don't really notice a difference. And I'm going to roll this clip so you guys can see. So as you can see there, if you're going to be using that for portrait videos to put on all of those social media outlets, this is an exceptional camera, an exceptional lens to be able to do it, but you do need the space behind you to actually be able to film that. It doesn't look like it, but I was probably about 8 to 10 meters behind where I was hitting the ball to get that look of the footage. Now the final thing, and if you haven't subscribed already and you're still here, please hit that subscribe button because I have a total current of 8 subscribers. It's a new channel. Anyway, subscribe to the channel, but I'm gonna roll the B-roll for you now. And the B-roll is absolutely insane. I went down to a little creek, it's called Currumbin Valley Rock Pools, and this was really, really nice. It's only short, but you can use your 4K 30 with a gimbal on B-roll and get some really great footage doing this. Alright guys, so that's it from me. Now, my conclusion of this lens on the Canon R10. Look, if you're looking for that same stuff that Peter McKinnon and those guys get from the 50mm f1.8, I would strongly recommend going to 35mm f1.8 if you have a Canon R10, which is a crop censored lens. You're going to get a 52mm field of view with the 35mm lens and the crop sensor. If you've got the 50mm, then it's going to be more like a 75, and you might be a little bit disappointed that you can't see the same style of image that those guys were getting. So just be mindful of that. The 35mm is a little bit more expensive. I'm going to link them in the description below so you can check them out. And if you've got any questions, throw it in the comments. I get back to every single comment in the comments section, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers guys.